Okay, so this is the third video for exercise 9. We're looking at recording the cash payments journal transactions, the ones that have been highlighted in green. When the business pays money, we're going to be looking at recording those in the cash payments journal. So we're going to start for the exercise to ensure that we've got all the correct columns filled in. So we're doing the books of Mitchell's Plain Cleaners. It's for June 2020. And we need analysis columns for bank, wages, stationery, and material costs, as well as sundry accounts. So we're going to have a look at our answer sheet. Cash payments journal of, you want to fill in the name of the company. So in this exercise, it's Mitchell's Plain Cleaners. There should be a dash, June, the month, the year, 2020, and the code CPJ 6 because June is the 6th month. We've got all of our columns filled in up to bank, and we need to add in wages, stationery, and material costs. I think those are our 3 columns. Let me just double check. Wages, stationery, material costs. Great. So we're going to look at the very first transaction for the cash payments journal. It's on day 2, and we're told we've issued check 001 to the City of Cape Town to pay the annual trading license, 1,250. Remember, annual means once a year. So we are paying for the trading license for 1,250 Rand to the City of Cape Town on the 2nd with check 001. So we go to our journal, our doc number 001. This is happening on day 2. Who are we paying? We are paying the City of Cape Town. How much money are we paying them? Just make this a little bit bigger. How much money are we paying? We're paying 1,250 Rand. What is it for? Trading license. Does trading license have a column? No, it doesn't. So we go to sundry, and we record it as 1,250 Rand trading license. And we move on to the very next transaction. With the cash payments journal, we have our check counterfoils all left over in our checkbook. We hand out the check to whoever we are paying. And so the checks follow on sequentially, the numbers. So we can already fill in 002. We have a look. What is the next day? On day 8, we bought the following from Murray stores and paid by check. So we can already fill in day 8, Murray stores. Day 8, Murray stores. We now need to work out how much money we have had to pay Murray stores. And so if we go back to our transaction, we have bought 4 washing machines, 4 tumble dryers, and 2 iron presses. Now, what do we call any kind of furniture or appliance that we purchase in accounting? Hopefully, at this point in exercise 9, you're able to identify that that would be equipment. So we're going to have to say with our calculator, 4 times 1,550, and you should get 6,200. We're then going to say 4 times 1,800, and you should get 7,200, and 2 times 2,000 would give you 4,000. We're then going to add them together, so 6,200 plus 7,200 plus 4,000 should give you 17,400. And we go to our cash payments journal. That's the total amount going out of our bank account, 17,400. What have we purchased? We have purchased equipment. Does equipment have its own column? It does not, so it goes to sundry, 17,400 equipment. We can insert our next check number, then have a look, and the next day is day 14, and we can see that 2 transactions are happening on day 14. We have sent a check to Telkom And we have drawn or drew a cash check. So on our check, we wrote the word cash, and the bank gave us a whole lot of cash, and this is what it was used for. So if we look at the very first one on day 14, we've sent a check for 340 Rand to Telkom. So we can fill that in already. This is happening on day 14. We have sent a check to Telkom, and it's for 340 Rand. I just want to quickly align my figures. Okay. So what is that 340 Rand that we are paying Telkom? What are we paying for? So we have a look. 240 is the telephone account of the business. The remainder, so 340 minus 240, 100 Rand, is for the personal telephone account of the owner. That's what we call drawings. So we have a look. Does telephone have its own column? It does not. So we go to sundry accounts. We record the 240 Rand as telephone. The other amount, which is 340 minus 240, which is 100, is going to be recorded as drawings. It does not have a column, so we have to drop it down to the following line in sundry, ensuring that once we have finished that recording, we don't record anything else on that line. We do not mix transactions up, and our next transaction will be on the following line. And it's still the same day, in fact, because we see drew a cash check. So whenever we draw a cash check, still day 14, we write the word cash on the check. What is the value that came out of our bank account? We are going to have to add up 5,550 plus 2,150 plus 1,100. And if you do that on your calculator, 5,550 plus 2,150 plus 1,100, you should get 8,800. That is the total amount that goes in the bank column. That's the amount that we would have actually written on the check. That's how much cash we got. What did we use the cash for? Well, if we read the transaction, it tells us of that 8,800, 5,550 was for wages. So we're going to go to the wages column. On the same line, we record 5,550. We then had another amount, 2,150, which was for stationery. And if we have a look, do we have a column for stationery or will it go to sundry? We actually have a column for stationery. So on the same line, we can record the value for stationery, 2,150. And the last amount, 1,100, was for personal use. We call that drawings in accounting. Drawings does not have its own column. So on the same line, we go to sundry and we record 1,100, and that is drawings. We then move on, next transaction, and we have a look to see what day the next transaction happened on. And when we look over here, we see it's day 18. We sent a check to Martin Traders. So we can fill out onto the journal, check number 005, day 18, Martin Traders. Now we need to work out what is the total value that we would have paid. What did we write on the check? And we're going to have to add up. We've got 1,200 for materials, equipment of 1,550, packing material of 1,220. So we're going to get out our calculator and we're going to add 1,200 plus 1,550 plus 1,220, and you should get 3,970. We're going to record that in the bank column, 3,970. Next, we need to split it up into the different things that we have purchased under the correct account names. So materials was 1,200. Materials we call material costs. So we have a look. Do we have a column for material costs? We do. So ensuring that I'm on the same line in material costs, I fill out the 1,200 Rand that we spent on material costs. We then spent 1,550 Rand on equipment. And we can see here that equipment does not have a column. So we're going to go to sundry. We record 1,550 equipment. And the last amount, if we have a look, is 1,220 for packing material. We look at our column headings. We don't have a column for packing material. So we'll have to drop to the line underneath in our sundry accounts. 1,220 Rand packing material. Okay, then we need to have a look. Do we have any more transactions left for the month? And we do. The last transaction is on day 27. A check was sent to Lisa Estates to pay the rent for the next 2 months. Rent amounts to 240,000 per annum. Now, hopefully, you know that per annum means per year. So we would need to divide that total amount by how many months there are in a year. So 240,000 divided by 12 will give you an amount of 2,000 Rand per month. They tell us we're paying the rent for the next 2 months. Sorry, that's not 2,000, that's 20,000. 240,000 divided by 12 is 20,000. So we are paying the rent for the next 2 months. So we need to work out not just 1 month, but 2 months. So hopefully, you know, if we multiply that answer by 2, we will then be able to work out how much we would pay for 2 months. We're going to record that as not rent income. We are paying rent, so that's rent expense. So, day 27, Lisa Estates. So check, making sure that I'm not writing on the wrong line. Transactions must be separate. 006, day 27, Lisa Estates. We're paying 40,000 Rand for rent. We don't have a column for rent expense, so we're going to go to sundry accounts and record that as rent expense. It is now the end of the month and we need to total our columns up. So you're going to get your ruler out and we underline from bank all the way to sundry, above and below to get our totals. Then you're going to get out your calculator and we're going to add all the values. So we're going to add all of these values in bank to get the total of bank. So 1,250 plus 17,400 plus 340 plus 8,800 plus 3,970 plus 40,000, and you should get an amount of 71,760. 71,760. We add wages together, and in this exercise we only had one amount for wages, so that's a nice easy one to add up. The same for stationery, there's only one amount. And the same for material costs. We then need to add all of the values together that are in sundry accounts to get the total. So 1,250 plus 17,400 plus 240 plus 100 plus 1,100 plus 1,550 plus 1,220 plus 40,000, and we get an amount of 62,860. 62,860, and we then Want to check that our bank figure is correct. So we're going to add all the other figures together, and that should give us the total of bank. So 5,550 plus 2,150 plus 1,200 plus 62,860 gives us 71,760. And we're happy. And that's the end of exercise 9.